fucking pokey.
Hello, this is London calling. The time is now 14:42. And here's the Queen. Hello, everyone. Shh. Chris doesn't know I've edited this into the start of the podcast. I guess he's just finding out about now. Anyway, listeners, what I'm really after is a favour. If you have an iPhone, can you download the podcast app? It's the official Apple app, and the icon's a purple colour. Hit the search button, search for SNEW With The Crew. I'll just wait a minute while you type that into your phones. Find the podcast, hit subscribe, leave a review, preferably a 5-star one. Bash the Facebook like button on the review page. Thank you very much for your continued support, and I'll enjoy reading your reviews out on the show.
What's going on in there? What are you doing? What's going on? What are you doing? What are you up to, Ross?
Fucking about with the edit.
You what?
Reading a little advert.
Are we going to record some podcast or what? Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SNEW With The Crew, volume number 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we play the introduction music?
Should we have some intro music? Are we ready? Go!
Oh, it's really loud. That was really loud.
That was so loud, it's so loud.
I've got no ears. Loud.
Now Ross has just damaged permanently all of our hearing.
I've got tinnitus.
But, you know, show must go on and all that jazz. So...
Jazz. Fuck jazz. I hate jazz. Pretentious.
Do you really hate jazz?
Yeah, it's very pretentious, isn't it? It's elevator music. Both garbage.
I think you misunderstand the levels of jazz. There's a lot of types of jazz that are probably music that you listen to and like.
Probably.
Did you like what's the musical, the most recent city?
La La Land.
Land,
Fuck
yes.
La La Land.
You didn't like it?
No, it was alright.
Did you like the music?
Introduce the show, Chris.
No, I haven't.
No, you haven't.
Adam.
Hello.
Ross.
Hello.
And me. Hello.
Who's me?
Chris.
Every fucking week.
Anyway, right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for tuning in, and let's get on with some newsy type stuff, I suppose. So it's a bit of a weird week this week because there's like no trailers at all, well, except for
One.
My Little Pony. Is that what you mean?
No, I didn't know there was a trailer for that.
There is.
Oh,
Well,
what a
there's-
movie.
It's your favourite type of trailer as well. It doesn't give much away because you know you're going to see it at the cinema. So
What? What's it's a My Little Pony trailer, and they've actually done it correctly by not giving anything away. Wow, that's
I think the biggest like giveaway is
crazy.
that there's an original song by Sia in it, and
who?
the one that did Chandelier and
Okay, I thought you said Seal, but said it
Seal.
wrong.
Seal hasn't been on a soundtrack for a movie since Batman Forever.
Ooh, Kiss from a Rose. I really like that song at the time. I really like that movie at the time.
It's a very good Jim Carrey film.
It is.
It's funny. It's a shit Batman movie, though.
Batman and Batman Returns were okay. Not really a fan.
News this week. Just in, Adam doesn't like something.
Yeah, but I like a lot of films. It
No,
just
you
tends
don't.
to be stuff that's not what you lot like.
Ghostbusters. I like Ghostbusters.
We're not talking about
No.
Ghostbusters. We are talking about Batman, though, right at this moment. 2019, there's going to be 4 Batman-related movies.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Why?
Well, because they can.
What ones?
I don't know yet.
They haven't
I don't
released
think they
any
know
details.
yet either.
Oh,
But,
okay.
you know, that's what kind of the rumour is.
So it'll be the Batman, 2 animated ones, and then
Maybe-
a live-action one that he appears in.
Well, they're talking about Gotham City Sirens, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
So
that
he'll
could be
be
cool.
in that, won't he?
Yeah.
In some form.
Well, Batman-related movies, so it doesn't have to be Batman. So you could have Batgirl in that year as well,
Right.
with what's-his-face directing.
When's the
Joss
Batman
Whedon.
out? Is that next year or?
No, it was supposed to be out next year, but it's now not going to start production until next year.
Right, so 2019 then.
When's
Yeah.
Batdad coming out?
Do you mean the alternative timeline?
Or do you mean the
And-
guy on
Oh,
Facebook?
I bet one of these movies is Lego Batman 2.
Oh,
yeah, that's a possibility.
It could
Yeah.
happen.
Haven't seen the first one yet.
No, not right. It's supposed to be very good, though.
When you say Batdad, do you mean the guy on YouTube that puts a mask on and just turns around to his wife in the
Sit
car?
on the potty and go
Yeah.
to the loo.
That guy's hilarious.
I've not seen that.
You'll
it's-
love it.
You have to look him up on YouTube because he used to do Vines, and Vines aren't a thing anymore, are they?
I didn't even know they were a thing at the time.
Vine.
He wears a Batman mask and he tells his kids to do things in the voice of Batman.
And
It's
just
hilarious.
walks up behind his wife while she's cooking and goes, "I'm Batman." It's like to her ear, like very loudly.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go and check it out. Maybe I'll find one or two and put some links below.
Yeah, just
Sounds like
for
a
the
plan.
2 people that listen to our podcast that don't know who Batdad is.
Well, if 33% of the people in this room don't know, then there's every chance.
You always that always confuses me when people do percentages of like 3 people in a room and say 33%, because it makes it sound like there's a lot more people in the room, and there isn't.
That's it works for Timotei. It works for me.
Actually, it's 33.3% reoccurring, isn't it?
Wow.
Oh, shut up with your proper
Pedant.
maths.
Your weird maths stuff.
I'm shit at maths.
Stranger Things is almost finished filming season 2.
Oh right, I thought it was out soon.
It is. It's out in October.
Oh right, okay.
Out ready for Halloween. Them in their little Ghostbusters outfits. You'll like that, Adam? Won't you?
Yeah,
But we're not
probably.
talking about Ghostbusters.
I'm kind of annoyed that they're using the same characters and not doing what I was hoping they would do, which would be each series would be a different story that's
An
a
anthology.
stranger, like a stranger thing that in each series, but like maybe linked by the policeman character or the town, or each one moves further away from where it started and tells a different story, but all set within the same.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I'd like
But
kind of
no.
like the old. Was it Steven Spielberg's TV series where each week was a different story?
Outer Limits?
No. Is it Stranger Tales or something? Something like that. There was an old series that was Steven Spielberg.
Tales of the Unexpected.
Can't remember. But yeah,
And
it would
in
be
this
nice
week-
to have something like that again, rather than something that's just constantly pushing more and more series, because everything does that at the moment. And
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Have you seen his new movie, by any chance?
what one?
It's called...
Governor of California.
Part 2. It's called Aftermath. Aftermath.
Is that
Aftermath.
the one
I just
after
say
a
that.
disease and there's a young girl playing his daughter?
No,
or is
that's
that a different
one.
film? Oh, okay.
There's another serious one, though, with his character's wife and son were killed in an air crash, and he's trying to get some kind of like justice, or at least admission from the air company that perhaps they were at fault, and just somebody to say sorry.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
all
I wanted to say sorry. What was that?
that
A
was
really bad Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Really bad.
I've heard worse, I suppose. But so he is doing quite well on the.
So he's not
going to
he's not going to be screaming "Get to the chopper" in that one, is he?
No, and he's not going to be doing that in Predator either, because he's come forward and said that he doesn't want to be in the new Predator movie.
I thought it was a remake.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It could be like a soft reboot, but there was a chance for him to be in it, and he doesn't want to be in it. But he would like to be another Batman villain, apparently.
As long as he does the right sort of Batman villain, I'm okay with that.
Did you like Mr. Freeze?
No.
I thought of a villain for Batdad, though. Chris can be Batdad's villain. Dad jokes. And he just tells terrible dad jokes, and Batdad has to stop him. He's like, stop telling terrible dad jokes on your podcast.
Can I be Captain Dad Joke?
Yeah.
Major Dad Joke.
There
you go. Hey.
We're gonna have to make a short movie of that.
Sticking with comic-y stuff, I suppose. Did you see that Marvel have got some embarrassing stuff going on with some of their artwork in one of their comics this week, by any chance?
I haven't properly heard about this. What's going on?
So there's a new X-Men comic called X-Men Gold
Right.
out and about, and one of the artists is a Muslim,
Right.
and he has kind of slipped some artwork into it that it uses and indicates some quite kind of exclusionist parts of the Quran.
Right.
And for instance,
when you say parts of the Quran, as in like text or visuals?
so there are visual references to
Right.
passages from the Quran. It's the case that he's put some dodgy stuff and, like, kind of without Marvel's knowledge, put some statements and references to those statements in their comics.
Right.
And shit has hit the fan a little bit. Let's give you some examples. There's a bit where the X-Men are playing baseball, and in the scene, Colossus is wearing a T-shirt, and the letters and numbers Q5 5.51, which is a reference to a verse from the Quran in specific Indonesian translation, warning that Muslims should not appoint Christians or Jewish people as their leaders.
Is that not possibly also like a baseball score for a team like the Queen's 100 and whatever hits over
Well,
something.
they've picked him up on it, and
Right.
he's not said, no, I didn't do it. And they are recalling all of the issues, and they're going to reprint them all.
So buy them now while you still can get them, and
I've
then hang
ordered
on.
2 copies.
Chris,
Yeah.
Of course he has. Chris has got 2 on order. Fucking
Right,
Scrooge
okay.
McDuck over there. He's like, I'll put some of these away. Is it not common, though, for works of fiction to be referenced in other works of fiction?
So you're saying the Quran's a work of fiction? That's fine.
All religious books are works
yeah,
of fiction.
this is true.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a bit political for our podcast, though, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
No,
It's in a comic book, so it's kind of in our area.
Fair enough. But, we got to be inclusionist, though. Everybody's got to be inclusionist. Because, if we don't all agree that everybody has a right to religion, then,
Oh yeah,
you know,
I think everyone's
get
got a
on.
right to whatever, as long as it's not hurting anyone without the person's permission.
exactement.
There's dark stuff in all religious books, so it's kind of like back then it meant something different, and it was telling a different story to what it would mean now in the
Yeah,
way that
sure.
we live now.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if people are putting stuff into other like stories and that, and nodding at things, unless it's really sort of saying go out and do something horrendously horrible, does it really matter?
It only matters if that person has kind of an exclusionist view, or
Right.
a view that might affect other people in a way that might lead to them becoming extremist, I suppose.
But then that's the
Personally,
same.
what I think.
That's the same as a lot of other stuff, though. Like that idiot up north that stabbed that politician because she'd done some charity work, and no one seemed to class that as terrorism. And it's like, well, it is. It terrified people.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
stabbed a politician because she did some nice things
She
for
was
people he
a real
didn't
beautiful
like.
person as well. That guy's a bloody coward, really.
Yeah. So
Right.
I think
No, the bloke's a
unfortunately-
cunt.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I thought coward might be a stronger word, to be honest.
Cut to the chase.
Anyway, that's all a bit bloody serious.
Yeah,
Should
that's
we
quite
talk about
dark.
something else, isn't it? Do you guys... I tell you what, I did screw
You
up.
guys.
You guys. Did you guys see the trailer for The Defenders, the little teaser thing?
Yes.
So it turns out last week I gave out the wrong fucking date for the
Yeah, you were so off it was
I was.
ridiculous.
3 months.
Was it because you got
What?
confused by how Americans write the dates for the wrong way around?
No, I think what it was is I read the original proposed date and went with it, and then just completely by chance the same day the fucking actual date was released. On the day we released
What is the
podcast.
actual date then? Because I've seen the little trailer, but I
17th
didn't
of
really...
August.
Oh, okay.
And
I
now
think-
all people do is go on the internet and go, SNEW with the crew, it's fake news. It's fake news.
Fake snoo.
So, yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was a good little teaser thing. Doesn't really give you anything.
I heard an interesting...
Why is Daredevil not dressed as Daredevil?
We don't know.
I'm
We'll
annoyed
find
about
out.
that.
Well, no, we'll find out. I did like the fact that Danny Rand's got something over his face.
He has.
That was interesting.
This is true. And I
Could
tell
be
you what,
his yellow
this is-
cow.
this is probably going to be quite important moving forward, because I heard a really quite interesting interview with what's his name, Charlie Cox, that plays Daredevil, and he was talking about how it is that the martial arts isn't as good in some of the other properties as it is in Daredevil.
Because he's got all the powers.
No, it's because he's got a fucking mask on, isn't it? So he can get a stunt double
Yeah.
in to do all the martial arts and everything, and it all looks great. Whereas Danny Rand isn't wearing his mask yet, and therefore they've got to rely on the main actor.
But you just get Industrial Light and Magic to glue a fucking face on you in post-production.
Glue his
You
head
know,
on. Yeah, it's
like
true.
Peter Cushing.
Yeah, but I
in
suppose
Rogue One.
that kind of does make sense. But at the same time, like they can do well. I suppose the stunt work in Buffy was obviously not.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
yeah,
Series
yeah,
one.
yeah,
It's
it's
like
true.
the woman's a completely different
Yeah.
build.
6 foot taller with a
No,
totally
she's-
different skin tone.
It's not that. She's the right height, but she's twice as wide, like across the shoulders, because she's a proper like stunt lady.
Yeah.
She's like a bit more hench than fucking Sarah Michelle Gellar,
It just hulks up. for
and
the-
10 years older
for
than her
every fight.
probably.
Heavy. On stunt people, before we quickly carry on with this, a big shout out to that woman who was in Mad Max Fury Road, who sort of got very badly hurt doing stunt work, and
Was that in Mad Max during Mad Max?
and she put up. She's been stunt double for a lot of people and a lot of things. I think it was Mad Max she got hurt in. She put up a load of photos of her recovery in hospital, showing her injuries and stuff. Like, she has properly been injured.
broken,
you
is
know. her spine's out and she's lost and all the muscle in one shoulder blade and things like that. All like, and she said, like, you know, that's what you do as a stunt person. It's a risk, but wow, to know that people even now are still getting major injuries through doing stunt work just to make a movie.
I'm
like,
surprised
fair
that
play.
you know she's the first person in one of his movies to get really hurt.
Well, yeah, but then it's great stunt crews.
Yeah, true.
Always are.
Well, they probably did get hurt in the first 3 Mad Max films, and they just didn't tell anyone and buried them in the Australian outback.
It's very likely that somebody got injured in the making of the first one, but
When
I don't think it happened actually.
The prop guy who built that boomerang actually lost his hand.
Really?
The first time he tested it, his natural, because he was Australian, his natural reaction was to catch the boomerang, and he forgot he'd put a massive blade on it.
Is this
And-
true?
And he threw the boomerang, and he caught it, but he didn't catch it. Cut his fucking hand off.
No.
So then, but they were they were
Really?
filming it, so they
they just kept it on. No, that's not in the actual film. No,
Just fucking made that up.
you motherfucker.
No, I thought.
Oh, sorry.
What?
Adam's literally looking at me going, please tell me this is true. Please tell me this is
I
true.
was just wondering how I'd never heard about that.
Yeah. Didn't you know in Star Wars they actually blew up the moon? It was the only way they could get
It's
it
a
to
good
happen.
practical effect, that one.
Oh my god!
But yeah, anyway, look, this Charlie Cox interview,
Yeah.
something that you'll be disappointed with Ross, I think, is that he was also talking about the Avengers Infinity War movie, and that if he was going to be in that movie, then he probably would have expected to have gotten a phone call by now, and he kind of hasn't.
Yeah.
That's quite sad.
No, they're going to ring Affleck and
Do you
get him to reprise his role.
I'm out if they do that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Yes.
It would be worse if they got old Jennifer Garner back as well, wouldn't it?
Is she the woman that played
Electra, yeah. Ben
Yeah.
Affleck's definitely the worst thing about that film.
I don't know if it's just everything. It's the director. I noticed you gave a copy away as a booby prize during one of your shows the other night, Adam.
Yeah, we gave away the
Not
director's.
the
Yeah,
cut.
I said I gave a prize of Daredevil on DVD out as a prize in my comedy show. The guy was really happy. I threw it across the floor from the stage into the audience. Went, but it's not the director's cut, and everyone went, "Oh."
Was he
all
more
at the
happy?
same time?
So
No,
the
everyone in
the
the
film
audience.
was shorter?
Everyone in the audience just went, "Oh."
Have you seen the two, Ross?
No, I've only probably
It's not a
seen
lot
the
of
first
difference,
one.
to be honest.
I've probably only seen the original.
There's one element that makes the director's cut better. Just one thing. And it's a very small thing. And people were quite forgiving of the movie, I think, because of this one little inclusion. And they probably shouldn't have been. So bollocks.
No, tell us then.
Oh.
You just didn't say anything then.
Oh, right, yeah. Sorry.
It's spoiler. Chris is like, can't tell a spoiler for a 15-year-old movie that's shit.
Okay, so it's the criminal dude, isn't it? Everything to do with his storyline
Yeah.
that was cut out of the original. So I can't remember what it actually
There's more
is.
Bullseye or more Kingpin. I think what that film needed more of was really bad rain sonar CGI, because I don't think there was quite enough in it.
There's another character, though. There's
Yeah.
a black guy that's just like a casual, like, not one of the main characters.
Yeah.
And there's something specific about him and his little story arc in the movie that's included in the director's cut, and it fills it out nicely.
A film that's so bad that when you think something's good in the director's cut, you still can't remember what it is.
It's been 15 years. Well, it's been 10 years. Who knows? Who cares? Stephen Bloody King's only got another property being made, hasn't he?
Really?
Into something, which is quite bloody weird.
What, a book into a film? Or
Yeah, in actual fact, I think it is. It's a co-written book. So Stephen King and Owen King, or maybe they're brothers. They've got a book called Sleeping Beauties, which is being developed for television, and it's all about some. Do you know where Appalachia is, Ross? You've been to America.
Yeah, but it's a big country, mate.
I know. I thought you tend to fuck you. You tend to, like, if you're going somewhere, you might have come across the Appalachian Hills. I don't know.
No.
Okay. So
that was hilarious.
so there's a
Thank you, Ross.
women's prison in the Appalachian Hills, wherever they are. Listeners, you can tell us.
Probably in New England, because almost all of Stephen King's stuff's in New England, isn't it?
Don't know.
Probably.
That's the northeast of America, like north of New York.
Okay.
Oh.
He lives in Maine.
See, you know
which is a
that.
state. Yes.
So yeah, this prison is full of women, and every night the women go to sleep. They are cocooned in some way, shape, or form, and if they are disturbed while they're sleeping, then they become like horrifically vicious, monstrous people, and it all sounds a bit,
As opposed to prisoners.
well, I think they're in there because I don't think they're in there because they've been incarcerated. I think it might be like it's a prison just by default, and it could have been any building, but they just choose to be there. And it's like a little colony of weird, savage cocoon women.
Weird.
The thing is, where we only record this podcast once a week, we're always going to be doing this because I'm sure Stephen King's probably written 3 books since we last recorded.
Yeah, and probably released them under 3 different names. But yeah, Jesus is getting a lot of work at the moment. As in, well, he's getting a lot of money at the moment for work he's already done.
Adam, just quickly, while Bobbin's not here, and you weren't here last week, what did you think of the It trailer?
I really liked it. I haven't fully watched the original It, but then from what people have said to me before, and some of my mates were saying to me when I was sat listening to the podcast with them, apparently the original It was actually a 3-part mini-series.
Yeah, it's like a TV, like a bit
so
like The
like
Stand.
I think 4 parts, possibly. I think it was 4 hours long.
Yeah, it's like actually a lot longer than the movie version they released on DVD.
On DVD.
The DVD version's actually shorter than the original version they showed on TV.
That would make sense.
And so I want to watch that version because apparently they cut out a lot for the version that most people have seen.
This is common knowledge, but this has happened the other way round before. Godfather, once they made The Godfather Part 2, they then turned it into like a 10-hour TV series with all the scenes that they cut out of, and it's in chronological order. I've never seen it, and I don't know if it makes them better, but just fun fact.
Nice.
Have you seen the Godfather movies?
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah.
I still don't know what I think about them. I think I was too young when I watched them, perhaps.
I think if you watch them now, you'd be like, they are some of the finest movies ever made, especially the first 2.
I may go back and watch them.
But yeah, the trailer for that was good. I quite enjoyed that. I thought that looked interesting. I've never heard of the new thing, the Sleeping Beauties, so I don't know what.
All right. Yeah.
Was it originally just a book or?
It's a book, co-written. Yeah.
That's very strange. I work in a library and I've not seen that.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if it's
Maybe
a really
it's
old
not been
one
released yet. I think.
or it's a Kindle only edition because we obviously can't get Kindle only editions in the library. So.
How big is the K section in your library, just because of Stephen King?
Well, Stephen King's actually the smaller part of our K section.
Really? Who's the bigger?
There's Koniski, there's Kunst.
Kunst.
Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce it.
Kunst.
K-O-O-N-T-Z.
Oh, not K-U-N-T-S.
No.
Kunst.
No.
German.
No.
Like similar to cunts.
Yeah, no. There's quite a lot of authors that start a K that are prolific writers.
I was trying to make a joke, and you literally went, "No, well, actually, in your Bovington Library voice, well, actually, he's not the largest author in the K section."
It's the thing. The person that writes more than anyone else that I find really weird because I've tried reading his books. Shite. Is James Patterson. We've got like a shelf and a half of his books, and they're so popular, but I just cannot read them for the love.
What's he written?
All sorts.
Name a couple of titles.
Swim.
Walk.
Jump.
He's just done so
Dave.
much. I can't even. Yeah, there's just loads, and I think they have made like certain films and TV shows based on characters.
Not going to win Librarian of the Year, are you, this year, mate?
No, not with James Patterson. No, not a massive fan.
He's like, what's it called when you look after a museum? Oh,
Curator.
Adam curates the graphic novel section of his library, and probably that's it.
I do that, and the DVDs, and
do the
the children's section.
Oh wow! Is it full of Dr. Zeus?
There is a lot of Dr. Zeus, yeah.
Cool.
And Oliver Jeffers. You got a kid coming soon. I highly recommend Oliver Jeffers' books.
Oliver Jeffers.
Yeah, to read to your kids.
Any of the classics like Enid Blyton? Do you have the Famous Five and the Secret Seven?
Yeah, got all of the Enids.
I had a dream once.
She wrote Noddy as well, didn't she?
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh,
She
Enid.
did. She did.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the...
We ain't got no
is it-
noddy.
What's the Faraway Tree?
Yeah.
Dunno.
Magic Faraway Tree. Yeah. Something like
Yeah.
that.
Prolific.
Speaking of the famous five, I had a dream once that there were a bunch of Nazis that had to get from one side of the Isle of Wight to the other side of the Isle of Wight on a train, and I had to stop them. And my team was Enid Blyton's famous five and Chewbacca. And me.
That's really fucking weird. That says a lot about you as well, because as exciting as that dream is, it's steeped in like a little bit of, well, it was a steam train.
Nazism.
I just like the idea of sitting down with Chewbacca for cucumber and ham sandwiches.
Yeah.
Chewie, pass me the detonators. You five, get on the roof.
So where the fuck were we? We were
Stephen
talking.
King.
Oh, let's stick with Star Wars, seeing as we mentioned Chewbacca. That's a handy segue. So Carrie Fisher's going to be in episode 9, and you'd be quite pleased to know, I think, that it's not going to be CG work.
Well, they finished her bits, didn't they, before she died?
For 8.
Oh, for 8.
Yes.
How is she going to be in 9 then?
They're going to use old footage and kind of cut it together and do some stuff with it.
Oh, okay.
So I suppose technically that is going to be some kind of CG work, but it's not going to be the full-on horrible kind of Rogue One type CG.
The
okay.
CG work in Rogue One looks better in the Blu-ray than it does in the cinema. But that's mostly Cineworld's fault. Fuck you, Cineworld. You shit projectors.
What do you mean, Ross? What do you mean?
We took the
it-
CGI in Rogue One.
Yeah.
It just looked better when I watched a bit of it on the TV the other day.
Do you think-
And it's not like I was watching it on a time. I've got a pretty big TV.
So you think it's down to the projection at the cinema, do you?
Yeah, projection and expectation.
Because to be honest, I didn't think it was that bad at the cinema compared to what other people are saying.
How's your eyesight, Adam?
Perfect.
Is it?
Yeah.
See, my other half's isn't that great, and I kind of put her kind of like not noticing it down to her eyesight, but maybe I was
Well, yeah,
wrong.
but I was sat with 4 or 5 other people, and 3 of those have like watched Star Wars and know the history of Star Wars, and the others are not massive fans or anything. They just like watching the new ones because
Right.
they've got into it recently, and none of them noticed.
The weird cosplaying Darth Vader with the shit fucking pun in the middle of the movie is still bad.
Yeah,
But the Princess Leia looked all right, and Grand Moff Tarkin looked all right.
Right.
yeah. I don't think they were that bad at all. Like I know there's a lot of people out there going they were absolutely fucking awful. It's like I don't think they were. They're better than the ability of putting Chris Evans' face on a younger, smaller person in Captain America 1. That was done well at the time of it coming out. But you watch Captain America: The First Avenger now, and Marvel's ability on that compared to Disney's ability with what they're doing with Rogue One is far surpasses it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like as technology gets better, things like that will get better.
I had to explain to somebody that he didn't bulk up halfway through that movie.
Really?
Yeah, somebody was like, "Oh, mate, Chris Evans' transformation in Captain America is incredible."
That's
was like,
amazing.
Yeah,
It's not fucking real, mate. Look
No.
at go back and watch it. It's like Gollum turning into the Hulk. And you're like, "Oh, mate, it's like the Machinist into Batman." No, it's not, you idiot.
But we've come a long way from Tron, haven't we? And the
Yeah.
Spirits Within.
yeah.
Because if you go back and look at those now, wow.
And most of it is to
Wow.
do with like Light and Magic and various other big companies kind of pushing to be able to do those things. I think the turning point, as bad as it was at the time, Oliver Reed in Gladiator.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's true.
Most people don't realise that he died way before they finished the film
Yeah,
and
yeah,
had
yeah.
to just put his face over the top of like
Yeah,
graphically
but
of other people.
Also, the way they shoot movies is quite often somebody like Oliver Reed will come in for a week, won't he?
yeah,
And then where they've had to do reshoots is just and pickup
Yeah.
is the only reason that all his scenes weren't shot.
And I suppose going
Mm.
back as far as The Crow as well.
yeah.
They had to do a lot
Brandon Lee
over that.
died, didn't
Yeah.
he? So they did a lot in that film. But and to be honest, with a lot of those older films when they have done stuff like that, it's not always that obvious.
True. I don't
You
think
know?
it's that obvious. Well, no, I can't see it.
It's
in
good
The Crow.
in The
I'd-
Crow. It's dark enough that you could get away with it. You know,
True.
it's quite a
I'd-
dark film.
Quite like to go back and see Gladiator.
Mm.
Maybe at the cinema.
Gladiator's one of the best Blu-rays I own, though.
Does it mean you'd like to see it at the cinema?
I already saw it at the cinema.
Did you?
Yeah.
I did not. I ended up watching it on just DVD at the time. I think it was. I've
My-
never seen it on Blu-ray.
My brother-in-law watched all 3 Lord of the Rings movies on a 14-inch portable telly in his bedroom.
Wow. It's a bit of a waste.
Yeah, because when you think how small,
That's
because they're
insane.
shot in super widescreen, like, and he's like,
Wow.
I'm not that into Lord of the Rings. I'm like, yeah, because you fucking watched it on a fucking phone, basically.
You don't have to be into Lord of the Rings to appreciate how something looks on a big screen, though, do you? Have you got any other movies you'd like to see at the cinema, Adam?
The Matrix.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, I don't know. Like, would he have appreciated it more if he'd have gone to cinema? Because I can't stand Lord of the Rings,
No.
and going to the cinema wouldn't change my appreciation of it.
But there's a difference
Because you
between
don't like anything.
there's a difference between disliking the storyline and being able to appreciate how glorious something
Oh,
looks,
yeah.
though.
Yeah, I think
You know.
films that I'd want to see at cinema. What films that exist, or films I'd want to exist?
No, films that exist.
Films
Stuff
that
that you've seen
exist.
before that you'd wish that you could see again.
Or you
specifically.
haven't seen. Like, I
Things that
really
exist but I haven't seen. Maybe. Yeah.
wish I'd seen them. The one movie that always makes me go, I wish I saw that at cinema, is The Matrix.
I
Same,
saw that
actually.
at the cinema.
Did you?
Yeah, I went with a girlfriend at the time,
Yeah.
and yeah, it fucked my head up.
Probably don't take acid before you go and watch The Matrix when you're like 18.
Is there another film that's been released in the last 20 years that makes you question your existence quite as much as The Matrix?
Oh, yes.
Is there?
Despicable Me.
Because you wish you were a supervillain.
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs. No.
Such a good film, that. It's fucking amazing.
Uh,
It's really good.
I've never seen it.
Right, so I've put down on my little list in front of me The Matrix, which we just spoke about,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
which Adam still can't get over the other two. Just imagine you could go to see The Matrix at the cinema and you wouldn't think about the other two.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you do that, then yeah, it would work.
And then I put Lawrence of Arabia. But what I
Ooh.
actually mean is every film David Lean's ever made.
Uh-huh. Okay. What are the other ones?
Like Dr. Zhivago,
Okay. Yeah.
Bridge on the River Kwai.
Okay. That makes a lot
Um,
of sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big,
Massively
massive.
epic. Like the shot from Star Wars you were talking about last
Yeah.
week with the desert of Tatooine, with Luke having a bit of a mope about him having to stay there.
Yeah.
That shot,
Mm.
or Lawrence of Arabia, is full of those shots, isn't it?
Yeah. And we spoke about 2001 the other week as well, didn't we? That would be amazing at
Yes, we
cinema.
did. Yeah, that's right, actually.
If I was young enough and stupid enough, that would be the sort of movie to go and watch and take lots of drugs as well,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? What? That's just. I just suddenly had a little weird because I was thinking about Keanu Reeves, and then I was thinking about drugs, and then I was thinking about that animated film that I've forgotten, with him and Robert Downey Jr. in.
That's a Philip K. Dick story.
Yeah.
Yes,
What is it called?
It's called A
That's
Scanner
on.
Darkly.
Yeah. Scanner
I'll
Darkly.
cut that in like I just said it straight
Oh, that'd
away.
be really good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Let's smoke loads of weed and triple bill The Matrix, A Scanner Darkly, and A Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
I forget the last one for me.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I hate it.
I love it. It's amazing. It's so good.
How are those films all related? Are they
Because
all...
they're just all really good weed movies, aren't
Does
they?
A Cloudy
It's
with
like,
a Chance of
could
Meatballs...
chuck Avatar in there
Oh God.
as well. Or
No.
everything David Attenborough's ever spoke over. That'd be, there you go.
True.
How cool would
Yeah,
that be?
anything that David. Yeah, to go and watch like
Not movies. Imagine watching Planet Earth 2
Yeah,
on a
that's what I was gonna
4K
say.
projector and
Yeah.
surround sound.
Which I'm guilty of only ever watching on my phone,
Yeah.
as it happens. But
To be honest, Chris's phone's probably got a better picture than his telly.
yeah, there you go. Any other films you'd like to see at the cinema, Adam?
I'd probably want to watch weird things like
Ghostbusters.
Itchy the Killer.
Ghostbusters
I'd
2.
like to see it at cinema. No, I'm fine with not watching Ghostbusters.
The real
at cinema.
Ghostbusters.
I watch it on my birthday every year. I don't need to watch it at cinema.
Do you really watch it on your birthday every
Yeah,
year?
because it came out the same hour I was born. So
What? Sorry.
yeah,
Stop the topic right now. Explain to me why you think it came out the same hour as you were born.
because the date and time that it came out at cinemas was the same hour I was born.
Time doesn't work like that on the globe, does it?
When it came out over there,
What
time
do
di-
you mean?
in
Where's
America,
there?
America,
You're just pointing.
America.
There's like 4 time zones in America.
Yeah, but the first release was the same time with the time difference that I was born over here. That's why I like it. Like, I watched it when I was
your
really
mum in
young.
labour for exactly the running length of the movie as
No,
well?
that's
Forget it then, you don't
ridiculous.
get to choose that.
But like I said, I don't want to watch it at the cinema.
You'll have to choose something else for your birthday.
No, that's what I watch.
Can you just say, so I can cut all that out, it was released on the same day I was born?
It was released on the same day I was born.
Okay.
Why would you cut all that out? That was the best bit of the whole of that. But just saying it was released on the same day I was born, that's boring.
I quite agree with Ross.
Okay, it's all staying in, even this bit. Right. So Adam, any others?
Probably Dark City.
Ooh.
Richard O'Brien, Keith Sutherland.
That's the hipsters Matrix, is it?
I've still never seen it,
joking.
actually.
It's not, is it? But it's like
nothing like the Matrix.
But it is very like the Matrix, to the point where they actually shot it in the same place and used some of the same sets.
Did they? Oh, I didn't know any of that.
But it's that thing where people go, well, actually, that year, The Matrix wasn't the best film, was it?
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. It's one of those where you just know...
I just found it on a VHS in a Blockbusters and really liked it.
We spoke about it recently and I realised that I've never seen it.
It's good.
So I'll have to go back and watch it at some point. Maybe, yeah.
What other things at the cinema? Probably martial arts films. Like I quite like my Korean film. I'd really like to see Ong back at a cinema.
I'll tell you
or
what
Warrior King.
Tell you what was really good was The Raid.
Yeah, I didn't see it at the cinema.
It was fantastic. I did see it at the cinema.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right though.
Yeah.
You like martial arts, really good martial arts.
Yeah. Dread again. I'd happily go and watch Dread again at the cinema.
I think I might have seen that at the cinema.
It was amazing.
It was really, really good.
It's
the only one of 3 films I've ever seen in 3D that worked.
There you go. That goes on the list of drug movies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you go and watch The Matrix.
Yeah.
Scanner Darkly.
Yeah.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Then you go and see Dread in 3D. If you haven't puked yet, double vodka, some more acid.
And then watch Apocalypse Now.
And then Avatar. And if you're still alive
not
at the end of that, you have to watch Apocalypse Now.
How's it we're condoning the use of drugs all of a sudden? What's going on here? What the hell?
It's Ross. That's what he does.
We're not. We're just talking about art, aren't we? And there's no getting away from it. There's quite a lot of drug use in the movie industry.
Yeah, mainly quite a lot of the war films involve people taking ridiculous amounts of drugs.
You're talking about Jacob's Ladder. Oh, I'd like to see that at the cinema, I think.
Yeah.
That's quite good. Have you seen it, Ross? Seen Jacob's Ladder?
No, I haven't.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good.
Put it on your watch list. It's a good one.
Oh, I'll tell you what I regret, and it was quite a new film that I wish I'd seen at the cinema, is Hacksaw Ridge.
Ooh.
Is it good?
As good as my setup. My setup at home's not amazing, but I've got a big enough TV and good enough surround sound that when I watch something on Blu-ray, it looks really good.
Is it a good film though?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's
I
very,
haven't
very
seen
good.
it. I've heard mixed reviews, so I didn't know if it was worth watching.
The last hour and 20 minutes might be the greatest war movie fight scene ever put onto film.
It's pretty
Cool.
spectacular. And I think we said when we were talking about the Oscars, actually, I was quite surprised that it didn't get like a makeup award. Because some of the practical effects in it.
I don't know.
I assume their practical effects are very, very good.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know if it's pushed the boundary much further than Saving Private Ryan, but it is right.
It's getting to that point with war films though, where you can't really. It's virtually impossible to really push the boundaries much further, isn't it?
We're going to come back to war films in a little while, so let's not say too much about that. Stuff that I'd like to see at the cinema: Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah. Again, or
I'd like to see that again at the cinema.
That was amazing at the
in
cinema.
black and white?
Yeah. Ooh.
Well, there's
Is there
a
a black and white
cinema.
version?
There is a cinema in London near Angel in Islington.
Right.
That was near where I stayed up in London that I spoke about a few weeks ago, and outside they had their general viewings, and they had a list of all the cinemas around London showing interesting versions of films.
Okay.
And they were doing a chrome and black version of Mad Max Fury Road. So the whole film's in chrome and black.
that's the it's an official.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to do it in black and white originally, George Miller.
Right.
And Hollywood went, no one will understand it. And he was like, yeah, but it'll be good. And they were like, no. So he fit in colours into each section of the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically they've officially allowed him to have the chrome and black version.
Is there a chrome and black version of Happy Feet?
No.
Good. I'm glad.
On that note, did you know George Miller obviously did Happy Feet? Did you know that M. Night Shyamalan did Stuart Little?
I did.
He wrote Stuart Little.
I was at your comedy show the other night,
Oh,
so
yeah.
yes, I did know that. Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good on him. Good old
Couple of more movies that I would like to see at the cinema. Any film that I wasn't old enough to have seen the first time round at the cinema. I mean, no, not every film because I wasn't born. I mean, films that I saw when I was young, but they were 18. So, RoboCop, Aliens.
Yeah,
RoboCop and Aliens would have been brilliant at the cinema.
The whole Alien trilogy I'd happily watch at the cinema as a back-to-back.
Oh, yeah, as a special doodah.
Matinee. That'd be rad.
Problem is, it's finishing those 3 films with Alien 3.
We'll just put them in a different order.
Are we forgetting about the fourth one?
I'm not too bothered about seeing Resurrection at the cinema, to be honest.
I did see it at the cinema. You're right, not to worry.
And then this year, I saw Donnie Darko. I don't know if we were podcasting then, but they re-released Donnie Darko this year.
What, at the cinema?
And what was really good about it is, apart from the fact it's a really good film, the soundtrack was just brilliant at the cinema.
Okay.
I saw it.
And it was in Cineworld in Newport. It was in the deluxe screen.
Nice.
Which isn't really deluxe anymore, but the sound's really good in there.
I saw it at a cinema in Glastonbury Festival. Please refer back to our previous conversation.
But what it made me want to do is watch Almost Famous at the cinema. Yeah. Just because it's got a really good soundtrack.
Yeah. It has. That's very true.
Chris, are you talking about Donnie Darko at Glastonbury and you was having a go at me for talking about drugs in movies? It's like, I watched Donnie Darko at Glastonbury. Honestly, I wasn't fucked right up.
I am cutting you out.
And the other thing, the other film I'd probably want to watch at a cinema, or maybe at a festival cinema, like, because I've watched a few films at festivals, is Blues Brothers.
Oh yeah, okay.
Love that film, and I'd quite happily go and watch that in a cinema or at a festival cinema.
Again, it's the soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
Makes that
Which
movie.
is why it kind of works for a festival cinema, like the musical films, like Blues Brothers, and that would work better, I think, in that environment.
Yep.
Because everyone there's kind of half there for the music anyway, and have a bit of fun, and that's kind of got both.
How'd you get on with the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Oh, I fucking love it.
You love it?
Yeah.
So maybe an interactive version of that?
I've been to a few interactive versions
they do
of that, where they have
they
have the screen up with the film playing, and then actors on the stage around the film sort of dancing along to it, and you chuck toast at them and rice and stuff like that.
Sorry, why do you chuck toast and rice?
Because
it's to do with key bits in the film.
There are certain props that the audience use.
It's just part of the experience. Like there's certain.
You throw rice in the wedding section. I can't remember what the toast is all about.
I can't remember. Yeah, there's little things that are all connected to certain lines in the film, or misheard lines, or like purpose. The film has like purposeful continuity fuck ups in it and stuff like that, and things like there's a Rocky Horror Show lamp on one of the shelves in one of the scenes in the background that says Rocky Horror Picture Show. And it's like, they left a thing in there from when they did the play and stuff, because obviously it was a play beforehand. It was like, no, it's been done on purpose. But so people will shout stuff at the screen at certain points, like lampshade and stuff. It's quite fun.
Janet.
Yeah. It's good, fun experience. If you've never gone and done it, you don't have to dress up like the weirdos.
If you buy the DVD, there's like a version of it that you can watch on the DVD that like puts a little silhouetted audience on the bottom of the screen for you doing all this stuff.
Yeah, so you can see what it's like.
Yeah. People are way into this too much.
Yeah, it's a proper
this is one of these
things.
It's Rocky Horror Picture Show has always been one of those things that I've just never really got a lot. Like, there's a few things I just can't handle.
Yeah.
Like the Mighty Boosh. A lot of people love the Mighty Boosh. It's too fucking weird.
Okay.
As an assembly, me and my mates from our form class in high school performed 3 of the tracks on stage to the whole school.
What, Rocky Horror?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very inappropriate thing for a load of high school kids to be doing on a stage in front of the whole school, especially when one of your mates, he's in like suspenders and stockings and dancing around on people's laps in the front of the audience.
Nice. Not awkward at all.
No, it was insane.
I, at some stage in my life...
Didn't go to C of E or Roman Catholic school, did you?
Yeah, I at some stage in my life, I did actually really like Rocky Horror, and I decided now that I hate it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like it anymore.
Just over it.
I don't know why. Yeah, I'm over it.
I can still watch it now. I wouldn't go to any of the live shows now, but if they showed it at the local cinema, I'd probably go and give it a watch again. I haven't watched it in years, but yeah.
I'll tell you what I'd love to see is Blade Runner.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
It would be good.
That falls in the category of not old enough to have seen it, doesn't it?
I think it does, yeah. It would have been released in 1984, I think. Possibly 83.
Yeah.
Chris would have been 20.
I would have been. I would have been 5.
I've got a
depressingly.
collection of time travel films that I love because I quite like odd mindfuck time travel movies. I've got a collection of about 30. Quite a lot of those I either was not old enough at the time or didn't hear about until way after they'd come out.
Yeah.
So never had the opportunity. So I'd happily go back and watch all of those in a cinema, like if any of those came out. Everything from Project Almanac to like
The Butterfly
Primer, no. Primer.
The Butterfly Effect.
Primer's great, isn't it?
Yeah,
My
yeah.
lord.
Have you seen Project Almanac?
Yes, I
It's
think
very good.
Have you
It's very underrated for what it is.
one that came out last year, ARQ.
Yes, yeah.
That's very good as well for a low budget time travel movie.
Sound of Thunder, the old book by I can't remember his name. But they did
Adam, Librarian of the Year again.
My
the
head.
book by
Ray Bradbury.
Okay.
Yeah, Ray Bradbury book, short story from one of his books was turned into a film with Malcolm McDowell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, Clockwork Orange is one of the movies I'd love to see at the cinema.
Yeah.
I saw it at the cinema when they re-released
Did you?
when Stanley Kubrick died, and they went, we can put this back on the cinema.
Again, a massive part of why I'd like to see that is the soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I think I had that on CD.
It's the
yeah,
only book. I'm dyslexic. It's the only book I've ever read where I've only had to read it once.
Yeah,
As in,
okay.
I don't have to reread bits because it's written like people speak.
Yeah.
And it's written with his own language for the characters. It just
a lot of
goes
it's-
straight in.
A lot of it's Russian.
Yeah.
The language it uses.
Didn't
just goes
like the
straight in there.
movie
It's
so
amazing.
much because I read the book first.
I read the book first and saw the movie very soon afterwards, and realised, probably one of the first kind of properties that I realised, that they were dramatically different for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, the costumes in the book probably don't carry off, and the ending is dramatically different. And
There's a lot of things that happen within the story as well, leading up to that.
well,
that
the book's
are
got
very
remorse.
different.
That's the
Yeah,
difference.
yeah.
That's the main difference. The main character just walks away having gotten away with it all, and walks away clicking his heels, going "fuck you, world" in the movie.
Yeah.
And in the book, it's completely the opposite.
Well, the film's almost got the same tension, a totally different type of film, but it's almost got the same tension and bizarre twistedness and uncomfortableness as the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But
yeah.
the book,
I've seen
the
people,
book is a lot less.
In actual fact, that there's one horrible scene, the rape scene.
Oh, yeah.
and I've had people walk out when we've been showing it, like in our
What,
house
Singing in the
before.
Rain?
Yes.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is it's like the film has that same level of uncomfortableness. Like there's people that cannot handle certain scenes in Texas Chainsaw Massacre and just have to, they're just like,
I've
done,
known people
you know?
who have had the proper night terrors from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre repeating on them.
Fuck me up when I watched it for the first time at like 9 years old.
It never got me that badly. I think I was quite old when I saw it, in honesty. My last two movies for the cinema, though, are animated. Spirited Away
Ooh.
and Akira.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Akira was, yeah.
And, I think
Definitely.
what made me come to that decision, really, is I was thinking Ghost in the Shell, but I went and rewatched it just recently because I went to the cinema last week and saw the movie. And after watching the original anime again, I'm quite glad that, it's definitely not a film I'd like to see at the cinema, I don't think.
No.
Because there's a lot of blooming still shots in it. A lot of, like, just fixed, nothing animated, just a still shot with exposition over the top. And the character, because they can talk to each other remotely without needing to actually physically move their mouth, they don't. So it's just a still image with loads of exposition.
That is a product of its environment, though, isn't it? A lot of Japanese animation, that style came from
comic books.
No, how they couldn't afford to animate after the Second World War. Their economy was quite badly trashed.
Is that not why they started animating?
When they started animating, like the static shot where the camera moves over the frame, that's all financial.
Oh, yeah.
But that's
but then
why
also, in their culture as well, it's also partly to do with the fact that a lot of those animated films came from comics first, and that's exactly how you'd get a comic page, which was 4 pages of just the same image with slightly different angles of the person, and there's no change in the mouth because they're communicating via telepathy or whatever. So it's a similar thing, you know. That was easy to then do in a form that's film based, and that's kind of come about because of the money situation, but also because of the sort of strange choices they made in comics.
I have an argument to this, Ross, is that Ghost in the Shell was released after Akira, I do believe, and it's, well, perhaps they might have been stripped of a lot of their money because they used a lot of like computer generated stuff in it. I don't know. Because can that be expensive compared to traditional animation, do you think, at the time?
know.
Probably at the time it was.
Yeah.
Depends if you're using Koreans or not.
Or armies of.
Well,
Do you want to know about Ghost in the Shell anyway?
Yeah, go on.
The movie?
Give us your Ghost in the Shell review, Chris.
It's very good. Okay, I should.
Right, next. Chris, for anybody who hasn't been listening to the podcast intently enough, Chris thought Ghost in the Shell was very good.
In actual fact, I'll have to elaborate because it's not going to be very good for everyone. I think it's kind of, the story has been dumbed down a lot from the original.
Like most films made for Americans of foreign cinema.
Well, you know, are films just made for American audiences anymore? I don't know.
Sometimes in Hollywood, yes, and you can tell the difference between ones that are made for an American audience only and the ones that are made for a general Western audience, because it tends to be, if they're made for a general Western audience, they will quite often still basically use subtitles and just make it a slightly different version of the original.
You could argue that DC are making, or Warner Brothers I should say, are making superhero movies for Asia though at the moment. Yeah.
DC?
Yeah, because they've kind of like were caught out just recently, well I say just recently, around the time of Batman vs Superman, they were caught out in an interview saying it doesn't really matter if the film's good because when it's shown in China it's going to make us a lot of money.
Oh, whereas Marvel actually make the effort and film
China.
sections and have characters that are famous actors from around the world.
Yep.
Which I think is a better way of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make a film that is your film, but connect it in the ways that make sense.
Absolutely. And you know what, the linear kind of plot or linear story arc of the villain in Ghost in the Shell makes him a lot more accessible, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. Makes the movie just generally a lot easier to follow. If you go back and watch the original anime, there's a lot of darting around, and unless you like pin it down, really kind of isolate, okay, this is definitely going on, you can never tell who the villain is. So he's called the Puppet Master for a reason.
Yeah.
So he just uses a bunch of other people to do his
bidding.
Yeah, that's it. And there is an element of it with the bad guy in this one, but it's not as complex.
So they've done a better job of translating it than, say...
I don't know about translating rather than thinning it down. Maybe a part of the reason is because they spend a bit more time on the emotional impact of the main character's condition. Because for anyone that doesn't know the story, her brain has been removed from her human body, and this is in a world where everybody's got android parts and computer components to their brains and things, and her body is entirely robotic, but she's got her own original human brain, but she doesn't really know who she was before. And there's a lot more of that in this film, which is not a bad thing.
Cool.
And I'll tell you why that is interesting as well. You had this stuff being bloody pumped through the media just recently about whitewashing.
Yeah.
And that's all bloody blown up again this week, because Ghost in the Shell hasn't had a really good opening weekend. I've got the figures here,
They
actually.
say it's whitewashing, but just from the trailer alone, there's like 7 different like races of people playing characters.
Exactly, right, okay.
So I don't get why that's whitewashing, just because the main character isn't. I'm assuming that's what people are really
That's what people are
going
concentrating on.
Right.
So look, you've got a 20 million opening weekend, that's domestic, and 110 million budget, so that's not great.
Right.
They're probably way off the mark there. We're getting their money back. However, the press are just pumping out all this bullshit about the fact that it's the whitewashing scandal that's stopping people from going to see the movie.
No.
And you've got to argue it's really not. It's the mixed reviews, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
And probably the fact that we're just building up to a pretty big blockbuster summer. And 3 of the movies that they're highlighting for this whitewashing scandal, are Ghost in the Shell, Iron Fist, not a movie, but it's in the story, and Great Wall, and all three of those have built-in reasons as to why the character or the actor, is not Asian.
And didn't Great Wall do really well in China? Because it was half made by a large Chinese company specifically. Like they chose him to be in it. Like that was down to their choice.
Exactly.
Like, so the media are getting that a bit wrong.
This is exactly my point.
And Iron Fist, like, there's at least 4 main characters in that are not white.
Okay, and Danny Rand is an American.
Yeah, he's always been an American.
So that's not whitewashing.
Fair enough. The thing for me is with Iron Fist, you could have easily done that a Asian American kid whose family moved to America when he was really young and started a big company, and then they go away to go home to whichever country, and then the plane crashes in the Himalayas. They could have gone that direction. Fair play, they could have.
Yeah.
They chose to go with the same traditional avenue they went down in the comics.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You can say what you like about the Great Wall of China. It works. I've been to China and I didn't see one Mexican.
Brilliant input. Thanks, Will.
But it's the same thing with Doctor Strange, though. Everyone was going on about that being whitewashing because, like, they had Tilda Swinton playing the great.
Sure.
But there's like an amazing, brilliant British actor who was Kubla Khan in Marco Polo, playing Wong in it, and he wasn't just a butler or an assistant or a slave. He was an actual master,
Sure.
and that was quite cool. Like, the changes they made worked.
Absolutely. Yeah, okay. So, as I said, all three of these properties, they've all got stuff built into them. So, the Great Wall, Matt Damon's character is written as an American with an American part.
Yeah.
Iron Fist, he's American, no questions asked. In Ghost in the Shell, without giving away anything about the film, it has got its own built-in kind of excuse for this stuff. And at the same time, it's not stated in the movie where the city is that they're working in.
Yeah.
And it's very multicultural.
Yeah.
Very multicultural. And you've got all sorts of actors. And there's a character in it played by, what's his name, Beat Takashi, who's speaking Japanese all the way through the movie as well. And interestingly, he's the only character speaking Japanese, and everyone can understand him, but they speak back to him in English.
Because they've probably it's set in the future, they've probably all got like multi-translator things in their heads.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. So, yeah.
That should be happening more in films that are set in the future.
Actually,
in my eyes, there should be 6 or 7 languages. And then, yeah, it's a bugger for anyone editing it that's got to sit there and put all the different subtitles. If you're living in Germany, you've got to be the guy going, right, it's going to be in a German cinema. I've got to do all of the subtitles for all of the languages except German.
Yeah.
And then you go to another country and do like
Can you
all
just
the
say that?
language.
And then we go to another country.
And then we go to another country and you've got to do all of the subtitles for all of the languages except your country. Bit of work, but why not with sci-fi films?
True. And I really like the way they put the subtitles in as well for Beat Takashi's character, because they weren't just like linear with a black box across the bottom. They were nicely kind of like tucked into
they've started
into the
doing
screen.
that with a lot of films now.
They did that with
where
John Wicks, didn't they?
Did they? Yeah, they did. And the first one...
John Wick
The
is
first John Wicks had a lot of weird subtitling styles and then like bold subtitles for certain names when other characters were speaking, which I thought was really good.
Do you remember Night Watch and Day Watch?
Is that
by
the
any chance?
Russian vampire?
Yeah, that's
I never
right.
watched them, but
The subtitle work in that's really clever, because I don't know if it's the same on the DVD actually, but there's parts where like the character would say something, but it'd swish his hand across the screen and it'd take the subtitle away with him as it swished it out, sort of thing.
it's a bit more like a comic book.
Yeah,
They're kind of
very much
following
like
that
yeah.
idea.
They do it in The Hobbit really well. It's about the only thing they do really well in The Hobbit is the orcs talk in Mordor, in the Mordor tongue, and then because it's nobody knows it's always going to be in the subtitles are going to be in the film because they're talking a language that nobody knows.
Yeah.
It's like if you made a Star Trek movie now, the 4 people who speak Klingon would get it.
Yeah.
But it's done really nicely, and it's done in the nice Lord of the Rings font and stuff. So it looks really good.
Ghost in the Shell. Yeah. Anyway, go and watch it. I reckon.
I'll give it a watch.
It's definitely worth a view. It looks amazing. It's up there with Blade Runner for how it looks. I think it's like a modern, as far as the set pieces and effects and the visuals are concerned. It is right up there with Blade Runner. and it looks beautiful.
Do you think it's as different from the animated film as the animated film was from the comics?
I tell you what, it actually, in my opinion, right now, that's something I missed out from saying earlier on. In my opinion, there are points in the movie where you think this looks so much better than the original animation.
Right, okay.
But there are certain specific scenes
Yeah.
that are cut straight out of the anime. Like,
So they've gone frame
and
for
there's
frame
one
sort
bit,
of thing.
I don't know if you remember it, but in the trailer specifically for the original anime, before the bit with the water fight,
Yeah.
there's a bit where she's running through an alley and she kind of looks up, or the camera pans up, and there's an aeroplane just kind of flying over the alley, perfectly reproduced in the film.
Rad.
And just lots of little throwbacks, little kind of like nudges to people that have seen the anime in it. But lots of elements that look so much better than the anime did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, like Akira, I'd be up for them redoing that live action.
There's talk of it.
I'd be happy for them to redo it animated.
Okay.
To be honest, just
I don't know if you need
in a
to do
different
it animated.
in a different style maybe.
Okay.
Like more intense, more detailed in the drawing and stuff. Because I love the style of the original Akira, but it's very, very much the comic style.
There's a bit of a revival going on, isn't there, with anime? So it's gonna happen. We've got Battle Angel Alicia coming.
Right.
And Akira has been talked about for such a long time. It's like 10 years now.
It's probably the only one I'd actually be really interested to go to the cinema to see an Akira remake.
It depends who's casting.
Imagine if Michael Bay was like, I'm going to do Akira.
Yeah, then
You'd probably cry, Adam.
No, I'd probably just go and watch the original instead.
Would you like to see 14 more Transformers movies from Michael Bay?
No.
You wouldn't, would you?
No.
Well, that's good, because this last one, this next one, The Last Night, is the last one he's going to do. Hooray.
Good.
But there are 14 more coming.
Yeah, as long as they're not him and they're done differently by someone else, then they might work.
Looks like Bumblebee's going to be a prequel.
Oh.
Which...
Will he be a Volkswagen Beetle?
I'd like to think so, but
That'd be
knows?
Great, because he was in the first new one, wasn't he?
It depends how far back you go, doesn't it? If you go all the way back to Cybertron, then perhaps it'll just be that little weird kind of like...
He's like a little saucer, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I like it. They never ever really spoke about it, but I liked it in the cartoons when they... Because they never made the toys of them or anything. Like
of what, them in the Cybertron?
And they would just be like... If you go back and watch the early ones when they're on Cybertron, even though they're only on Cybertron for about 5 minutes,
didn't they do toys of all those? Well, the
person we need to ask about is not here this week.
That's very true.
Paul, where are you when we need you?
Paul, talk to us about Transformers, you fucking nerd. It was just so cool, wasn't it? Like, I think it was Bumblebee sort of turned in. One of them was it was one of the jets is like almost a triangle shape, like a pyramid sort of shape.
So yeah, and it sounds like he's making a bit of a mess of this last one as well. Bloody the early,
not a surprise really.
The test screenings, the reports are not good. Like, as in, it's a bit of a clusterfuck of like humour and seriousness in the same scene and stuff.
But they've just got worse and worse and worse since the first one.
Yeah.
And the first one was awful.
In actual fact, the second one's
the low point
the
for
epitome
me.
Of
the third one's better than the second one, just because Leonard Nimoy.
They got rid
just because of Leonard
Fox.
Nimoy doing some Spock lines.
Yeah,
really.
In the third one,
I haven't even seen the third
it's
one.
It's probably worth watching. They
got rid of Megan Fox, which made me think I might bother, and then I found out that it still had Shia LaBeouf, so I didn't bother.
It's not though, is it?
Third one, yeah.
Is that the fourth one I'm thinking of then with the Dinobots?
Fourth one's Mark Wahlberg. He's probably Mark Wahlberg's probably the best thing in the whole Transformers franchise.
I don't disagree. Yeah.
When it should be Optimus Prime.
It should be all the bloody Transformers equally, surely. You should be picking out your Transformer going, wow, Ironhide, he looks so cool. Or
rather than, Megan Fox's stomach, Megan Fox's bum, Shia LaBeouf's forehead,
Megan
Mark
Fox's
Wahlberg.
weird genetically modified thumbs.
God, they fucked up Wheelie.
Oh shit me, yeah. The fucking
slightly
awful,
racist robots.
No, that one was weird, wasn't it? Oh yeah, they were the two like really racist. They started off as like an ice cream wagon, didn't they?
Yeah.
And there was two of them. Two robots became one thing. That's fucking weird. It was an ice cream wagon, but then they were like, "Oh, you need to reboot into whatever the latest Chevy is, and then they were just these really handicapped black people. But that's literally what they were, weren't they? They were like, oh, should we be really racist and horrible to disabled people with 2 robots?
Yeah.
Yep.
Proper odd choices in those films.
Wheelie was the most innocent, kind of excellent little character, and they made him shag Megan Fox's leg and say, "Oh, you like that, don't you?" And I just thought, what the?
Yeah, but then
What are you
that follows
doing?
in all of his films. Michelangelo as a turtle, like constantly trying to fuck Megan Fox
he's
again
haranguing her.
throughout Turtles.
However, it's not quite as blatant as.
Oh
that
no!
Wheelie thing.
But it
And
seems
it's
to
bit
be
cooler.
a theme. It seems to be a theme throughout Michael Bay's films of Megan Fox being touched by some animatronic or graphical character in an inappropriate way.
I would touch her though.
I
I
still quite like
wouldn't.
the Turtles. Right, John Sim is returning as the Master in Doctor Who
I'm intrigued to how.
because the Master's been killed several times over. He was a woman at one point as
Whoa,
well.
whoa,
Well,
whoa.
she's still around though. She hasn't died.
Who's
Right,
Missy?
She's still there. So
Wasn't he?
yeah.
But he's a Time Lord, right? So he can just change.
Yeah,
his-
but I'm assuming it's not normal like that. It's actually going to be
Ooh.
They're going to be there together
and it
at
wouldn't
the
make
same
sense that it'd go
time.
back to another.
Same as the Doctors.
version.
They've done that stuff with the Doctors working together recently. They're going to do that with the Master. They're going to
Right.
have him and her together because obviously his version of the Master was like separated from his body and stuff at one point and was like not really there but was still there, and it's all really weird.
I've
so-
got to say, I don't like Doctor Who, but
Do
the
you not?
sound of
Oh,
drums, that one with
Yeah.
Chris Eccleston. It was Eccleston.
No,
No, it wasn't. It
David
was
Tennant,
David Tennant.
and John
And,
Sims. Yeah.
That's the best. That's the most Doctor Who fun I've had in years, and I've tried to watch it since, and it fails on me every
I
time.
jumped on board for when it changed to Matt Smith, and I really enjoyed Matt Smith's run, and then I fell off the wagon again once Peter Capaldi
I didn't
took
like
over.
Matt Smith at the beginning, and then I started to like him near the end. And just as I was getting to a point where I was thinking, right, he's found his Doctor, he's getting pretty good, he left. And then Peter Capaldi, just as I'm starting to get to like him, he's leaving. Whereas David Tennant, I got to the point where I started to like him after Chris Eccleston, and then he got better and better, and they had some really good storylines.
and then
Then they moved on, and it was like, fair enough, you know, he's done quite a chunk. David Tennant's done obviously the most out of all of the modern Doctors, and I really liked what he did, but Matt Smith he got there, and then it changed, and Peter Capaldi's he's just about getting there, and then they're changing it. But the writing hasn't been as good since David Tennant's stories as the
Right.
Doctor. I don't think the writing's been anywhere near as good.
I
No,
gotta
see, I
wonder-
thought some of the Matt Smith, like the whole, because there was a whole story arc over like about 3 seasons with Matt Smith. And I
Yeah,
really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I don't mind that. It's just the right. There was too many like filler episodes and too many episodes of kind of dragging out that long story that could have been done much quicker
Yeah.
and still been as good, if not better.
I'm just not a fan. I think personally, I had a Doctor Who, and he was the one that was around when I was young. And
Tom Baker.
It was Tom Baker indeed, and I just kind of I've never loved it.
I like
Ever since.
I like all of them, but like I don't really have a favourite as such. I have favourite storylines and favourite episodes, and they're between all of the different Doctors. Like Tom Baker, Sylvester McCoy, and David Tennant have probably more of my favourite episodes with them as Doctors than others.
Right.
But yeah, like I can see why people don't like the new stuff as much, and I can see why people have kind of fallen out of love with it. But I love it all. I'm always up for watching Doctor Who. I just like the character. Whoever's playing it, it's a different. I like the fact it's like the James Bond thing, that each James Bond is actually a different agent. They just have
Yep.
the same name, and it's kind of, for me, that's like the Doctor Who thing. They're just being their own version. I'll happily watch another one do other adventures, as long as the writing of the episodes is good. Normally, whoever they have is a good enough actor.
Yeah.
I grew to really dislike the sonic screwdriver. It's become an instrument of lazy writing.
Yeah,
It's just like
that worked well for David Tennant, and then Matt Smith should have had something else. Like they didn't. I don't know why they all have to have a sonic screwdriver now. It's
yeah, but
getting annoying.
it's the most so ridiculous Swiss Army knife of fix everything. It's like fuck, no, it's pointless. Like Doctor Who's not brilliant. It's fucking sonic screwdriver is the greatest invention of all time
That
ever.
turned him into Inspector Gadget with a phone box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like Forrest Gump?
That's right.
Do you like The Curious Case of Benjamin Button? Do you like The Good Shepherd?
Don't know.
Okay, so they were all written by Eric Roth, and he's going to be writing the new Dune movie for Denis Villeneuve.
Villeneuve? What, the Formula
He's
One
like-
driver?
No, the guy that that directed Arrival.
You can't pronounce
okay.
somebody's name properly. You are a racist, sir. You are a racist.
It's Denis Villeneuve. I'm sure it is.
I couldn't tell you. I
pretty
don't
sure
know
it
how to
is.
say it, but that's probably what I would say.
So it seems to me anyway that this Eric Roth bloke, this Eric Roth, is not really done much sci-fi. So what the, Dune's quite a complicated.
Well, hang on. He doesn't have to write the
storyline.
book. It's already written.
Yes,
Just
so-
write a
but
fucking
he's
screenplay,
got-
mate.
Yeah, okay.
So he's the screenplay writer?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. James Herbert's the original, isn't he? Yeah, so he's got to develop a screenplay from a it's like bloody writing a screenplay for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but then
Yeah, they managed to do that.
but then they've got a massive team of writers that get involved with that.
Yes.
I don't know. Will he have a massive team of writers that are?
No, it's just this guy. It's all on his shoulders.
No, he'll write it. Somebody will look at it and
Yeah,
either write
exactly,
another one
yeah.
or they'll do more.
This is
to
shit.
it.
Go back and start again. Or this is all right. We'll get so and so, so and so, and so and so to come in and rewrite these bits because we don't think you've done
Hopefully,
it well
they'll
enough.
write enough scripts that they go, do you know what? This needs to be a TV show.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And just make it 10 hours long instead
Yeah.
of 3 hours
do it on
long.
HBO.
Nobody wants to watch a 3-hour movie, but they want to watch 10 hours of television.
I'm fine with a 3-hour movie. Just to say.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
No, you're not. Zack Snyder says you're not fine with a 3-hour movie because he makes 3-hour movies and,
And
they're
they're
not
shite.
fine.
Wow.
Michael Bay makes movies that are nearly 3 hours long.
And-
They're not good either.
Yeah.
But we spoke about the extended
Chris
cut
Nolan makes movies that are nearly 3 hours long. They're not very good either.
We spoke about The Watchmen last week. The 4-day version of that. It's good. I like it.
But I just think The Watchmen's really good.
Yeah,
It probably survives
I
on
like
the
it,
fact the
but-
source material is a masterpiece.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
if the comic was, that's the thing. You take a good comic and you make a film. The film's average. You take a great comic, you get a good film. You take a masterpiece, you get a pretty fucking good film.
Yeah.
Like it's still not right, and there's still holes in it, but it's still fucking good. So like if they're gonna do Dune, you've got a pretty amazing piece of literature to read
To
there.
fuck up.
And you could fuck it up very easily if you do
Well-
a 3-hour film. So is it worth doing it as a TV series?
Thing
or
is, it's got
do
to
you
be-
get the right writers in and actually manage to pull it off?
It's got to be better than the original film as well. Because
David Lynch's
I quite
version.
like that.
I
Yeah.
like it, but it got panned by critics really badly, didn't it?
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm interested to see what happens.
You mentioned...
Kind of wish they take other sci-fis that haven't been turned into films yet and do that, because there's a lot of remaking or doing add-ons or prequels or sequels to sci-fi, and it's like, well, just take something like Luc Besson doing Valerian.
Yep.
Like, great, amazing sci-fi comic series that hardly anyone knows about. Taking that, doing a decent film.
So that's definitely sci-fi, is it?
Yeah.
It is. Just
Yeah.
checking.
Yeah, it's
'cause,
like a
you know,
sci-fi opera.
your
Just,
subgenre, autism,
no,
and all
what's
that.
the subgenre for it? Is it sci-fi opera?
Sci-fi opera. Yeah.
Oh, right, cool. I love the fact he's like, I put these in the book section under sci-fi opera. Sometimes we have a sci-fi orchestra, but it's only when there's more musicians involved.
You mentioned Chris Nolan. So PG-13 for Dunkirk. What do you reckon to
That's
that?
surprising, but then everything's a fucking PG-13 now.
Gets people in the door.
It means that people can take their kids in to see everything, so it means more bums on seats for cinemas because they're not making enough money.
Does it make it a less serious war film, Ross?
No. His argument is it's a movie, a survival film. I saw an interview with him. He's like, all my films have been PG-13s. And
never
this
actually knew that.
is a survival movie and not a war movie.
Yeah, but it depends how it's done, I suppose. I just kind of imagine with the situation and what it's about, what angle is he going to be going from with it? If it's not showing all of the brutality of the actual historical situation, then what is it actually about? Is it just going to be someone reliving memories and the whole film's just flashbacks of someone telling their story?
To be honest, there's not going to be enough swearing in it either, really.
No.
Because goddamn, they would have been swearing.
Yeah.
You're not going to see people laid there with an arm missing going, oh dear, look at Miss Stump.
It's just a flesh wound.
Like, yeah, you're not going to get that. You're going to be like, fuck, at the top of their voice.
Yep.
Jerry's coming again. Get in the trenches, you fucking wankers.
Yeah.
That's what the Tommies will be like.
But that's the thing with that. Like, if it's a PG-13 or 12A or what the fuck they're calling it now, that means that they're still going to make their money because there's going to be shitloads of people going to see it of all ages, and then there'll be people taking their kids to see it because they want to see it and they can't get a babysitter, but it's a 12A so they can take their kids in. So they're going to make their money from it, so it's going to be classed as a success, even if afterwards everyone's like, that was awful. Because that seems to be what happens a lot with 12s at the moment, or 12As. There's more people on seats, so it makes the money at the cinema, looks great on the box office, and then afterwards everyone's like, well, that was shit, or that wasn't very good. But it kind of has a bad effect on the cinema industry, if you ask me, because it takes away from the art that's like the art of a good film.
Freedom of expression and all that.
He said it's him. He's made that decision, whether that's true or not, and he's just towing the company line.
Yeah.
But don't censor art.
No.
But the other side of the coin to that is if you end up with a feel-good movie that drives home the story of the coming together of the British nation to achieve something ridiculously amazing, then it can't be a bad thing.
Well, no, if it's done in the right way and it works at that age rating, that's fine. I just get annoyed with the sort of the element of how Hollywood and big film companies produce films now compared to like when you look at the smaller countries' cinema. Like, you go to other countries abroad that haven't got that insane amount of money, and their films are just as good, if not quite often better quality of storyline and acting for stuff that's not considered or ever gets the income at the cinema, and so doesn't get the praise and the honour and the look at this amazing film that everyone then goes on about, because they get kind of missed because they don't fit in the bracket.
The thing is, this will never happen because of PG-13, but what you could actually do in this country is you could just have 15 could just, which is an age restriction for the 3 people who listen to our podcast that's not in the United Kingdom. 15 might as well become 15A, and if your child is over 12 and wants to go to watch a 15A, as long as they're accompanied by an adult, it'd be fine.
Sure. Saying that though, I was at a car boot sale yesterday, and I saw a very small child walking around.
That's called a car trunk sale in America.
I saw a very, very small child, maybe 5-year-old kid, walking around with a Pixels DVD. Now, okay, it's the worst film in the world ever, but it's still a 15.
Yeah.
That's irresponsible selling, you car bootists. Anyway, so I'm going to ask this because I don't know. Is Chris Nolan American?
No.
He's British?
Yeah.
Okay. Ridley Scott's definitely American, isn't he?
No, Ridley Scott's British.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. I stand corrected. He's going to make a Battle of Britain movie.
Oh, my goodness.
Ridley Scott?
I didn't know this.
Did you not?
I'm really excited for this.
Okay.
What Ridley Scott is?
Ridley Scott is.
Oh, okay.
So, yes. So, if you're looking for a really good war film, perhaps that'll be the one. Dogfights.
To be honest, the Battle of Britain movie that is out there is really, really good.
I've never seen it, actually.
It's fucking brilliant.
Okay.
It's got an ensemble cast.
Okay.
Because all post-war war films had ensemble cast,
Are you
didn't they?
really into your war films?
I bloody love the Second World War. I find it fascinating and genuinely the most fascinating part of history.
Wow.
And the 20th century.
That's weird because
I love it.
I kind of assumed you'd be more medieval.
No.
In your taste of history.
No, seriously.
Mad.
The Second World War. Adam, I went to Bovington Tank Museum. For
That is
fuck's
true.
sake. To look at all the tanks from Bovington. Yeah, I honestly, mate, you have no idea how much Band of Brothers is probably the best 10 hours of television ever made.
I think you're into that as much as I'm into the history of the Khans. Like, you in World War II sounds like you're on the same level as me with my obsession with the Khans.
Oh yeah, I've read so many. I've read Winston Churchill's History of the Second World War. It's like 8 volumes. I've read probably more non-fiction about the Second World War than anything ever. My girlfriend doesn't know anything about the Second World War, so I was going to start it with Dunkirk, but I'm going to educate her about the Second World War using film.
Right. Well, that's okay.
Did she not learn anything at school?
Because we watched Hacksaw Ridge, and she was like, right, slight spoiler, if you haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge, but you probably know this from the trailer, there's a fuck-off battle at the end.
Right.
Yeah, because of the way the movie's... the movie's a bit like other Mel Gibson film, We Were Soldiers. Is that what it's called?
Seen it.
We Were Soldiers. I think it's called We Were Soldiers, about Vietnam, and that does a thing where it cuts to the wives at home and goes back to the action like that all the way through the film. Whereas Hacksaw Ridge is very much this three act movie of him growing up, him going through the training like the first half of Full Metal Jacket, and then being deployed. Ooh. And Anna was like, she was really enjoying the movie because it's really well directed and the actors are really good and the script's excellent.
So is it World War II?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm sat there no, because I've seen so many movies and TV shows and I know about battles and stuff from World War II. I'm sat there and she's just like not knowing what's going on, and the way the action starts, she was just literally just like blown back going, oh my god, was it really like this? And by the end of the film she was in bits, crying her eyes out.
It's really, the ending is one of those films. It's like the one about the oil rig, Event Horizon. No,
that's the one in space with Sam Neill.
That's not very emotional.
Deep Impact. No, Deepwater Horizon. Every week we just come up with bent names for this film.
The one with the shark and Samuel L. Jackson.
This isn't supposed to be funny. We're supposed to be crying. But yeah, Deepwater Horizon, and I saw Patriots Day as well just the other day, which is the second one in the director's trilogy of tragedy movies that he's doing, which is about the Boston bombings.
Why would you want to be known as the director who did a trilogy of like...
Yeah, but they're bloody good.
Yeah, but still, like...
I realise there's the whole thing about making money out of other people's demise and stuff. But,
yeah.
But at the same time, they are really good, eye-opening movies.
Right, okay.
They really are. I learnt a lot of stuff about the Boston bombing that I really didn't know from Patriots Day, and the same thing with the Deepwater Horizon.
Because there's issues with Patriots Day. I've heard a few people on American podcasts saying that a lot of the information in the film is not correct.
Right.
I haven't seen it,
well,
so I can't comment.
The main character is not a real
fake
person.
News.
Right,
The main character is fictional.
Right, okay.
So, there's going to be elements of storytellers, bloody, what do you call that? Prerogative. Storyteller's prerogative.
Yeah.
So, prerogative, how do you say that word?
Prerogative.
Prerogative. Anyway, I think Hacksaw Ridge has got the same kind of feel to it, though. You'll get to the end of the movie and you'll be compelled to go and look at stuff on the internet about whether or not it really happened.
You know, Adam, you know how Saving Private Ryan starts?
Yeah.
I don't mean with him crying at a grave. I
know. Yeah.
When those ramps come down on the landers and it just fucking goes. That's how Hacksaw Ridge, that's how that battle scene Hacksaw Ridge starts.
I don't know what Hacksaw Ridge is. Is it a particular battle then? What
battle
is it?
Yeah, part of the Battle of Okinawa, I think. Towards the end of this...
Okay.
Towards
so
the end of
the world,
Second World War, in the final assault on Japan.
Right. Okay.
It was like May, and the war ended in August.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
they dropped the bomb. I think it was the 6th of August, wasn't it? They dropped the bomb in Nagasaki.
You'd be able to tell us more than I can tell you, but yeah.
But my only little complaint in that movie is they're all a little bit shell shocked And I was sat, but nobody else would know this. Well, people would know this, but most people wouldn't know this. I'm sat there and going, May 45. They definitely weren't completely green and raw recruits by May 45. And then I looked, and their regiment had fought before.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Overall, you enjoyed the movie, though, right?
I just thought it was fantastic. I'd watch it again.
Cool. That's often the sign of a good movie, isn't it? Rewatchability. Have you seen anything this week, Adam?
I caught up on the Lethal Weapon TV series.
Oh, how was that?
I've really enjoyed it. It's actually...
I'm sorry, what? The Lethal Weapon TV series?
Yeah, with one of the Wayans brothers, one of the older Wayans brothers, and I can't remember the name of the actor who's playing Mel Gibson's character, but it's really good. Like I've really, really enjoyed it. Like all the way through. It's kind of, there's moments in certain episodes where you're a little bit like, oh, this is just sort of detective TV show buddy cop.
Is it ripped stuff from the? Is it storyline wise? Is it ripping stuff from the from the films?
From the films, there is certain stuff that is been brought in, but they're extending it over the series and bringing it in the right places for
is there a bomb in a bathtub?
There hasn't been that yet, but there has been some crazy shit in it.
Okay,
really good stuff as well. The guy that plays Mel Gibson's character is really, really good. Like, really good at playing someone who's lost someone he loves and is drinking too much. And the point it's got to in the series now is kind of, it's just built up as it goes along. You know, the relationship between the two of them, the family, like all the other cops and stuff, the forensic guy, you know, like everyone's got their own story, but it's kind of, it is mainly about them too and their close relationships. So yeah, it's worth a watch if you're up for it.
So they sort of building on the emotional like fallout of the events and things a bit more than they would do in the movie.
Yes,
like in the films, typical.
Yeah,
Hollywood.
well, each episode in the beginning half of the series has him going to a counsellor, kind of like you had him seeing a counsellor in the film.
Right.
But there's a lot more of that, and it's a bit more in depth, and then it links to the cases and stuff, and yeah, it's really good. I've really enjoyed it.
Cool.
I watched a cartoon that I don't know how I had not seen it before. I don't know how no one has ever mentioned it to me. Samurai Jack.
Ah, yes. Yeah, I've heard it mentioned. I've never seen it.
Well, they're doing a last series at the moment, so I was like, how is this like now doing a last series? It came out in 2001, so I went back to the beginning.
I think the guys who did Samurai Jack did... After Samurai Jack were the guy, they did the original first 2 seasons of the animated non-CGI Clone Wars. You know, the bit that actually started at the end of Attack of the Clones and went up to Emperor Palpatine getting captured at the start of Revenge of the Sith. Why do I know so much about shit Star Wars?
Nerdy Star Wars. But yeah, no, Samurai Jack, the first episode of all of it, I sat down to watch that the other day. It's only like 22, 23 minutes long. And it's like there's a little bit of talking at the beginning from the bad guy explaining the storyline. A little bit of talking from Samurai Jack's dad and his mum and the bad guy. And then for the rest of the episode, until the last 2 seconds, there is no talking.
Right.
It is just beautiful, genius animation of like proper traditional Japanese and Chinese style cinema of this samurai character as a kid going around the world being hidden from the main bad guy, learning different types of fighting and horse riding and wrestling and all this stuff from different cultures.
Right.
Then leading to him fighting the main bad guy and being sent into the future. And then the rest of the series from there on is him in the future trying to find a way to get back in time to beat the main bad guy in the past so that the horrible version of the Earth that he's been thrown into can stop from existing.
Okay.
And I started watching it, and there's even an episode where he like finds his hometown. It's not a spoiler for anyone. He finds his hometown and has some memories from when he was a kid, and there's Lone Wolf and Cub.
All right.
There walking through his town, and he witnesses a battle between Lone Wolf and Cub and some like samurai.
cool.
It's like ninja guys.
Does it actually introduce them by name? Or
No,
so you'd have to know?
that whole flashback is completely silent, other
Cool.
than the death sounds of the enemies.
Okay.
It's if you're into your old school 70s martial arts or your 60s martial arts comics, anything like Lone Wolf and Cub or any sort of samurai
I
film
wonder if they'll
or
do a
TV
Seven
series.
Samurai episode, or if they've probably done it. haven't
I
they?
don't know. I'm
They-
only into the second season now. I've still got another season and a half to go till I get to the end of season 4, and then there's season 5, which is the final season, because they finished doing the originals in 2005. So it's been like 12 years since it ended, and they're only now just doing the actual ending to the story.
Right.
Because they were going to try and do a film, and I read about it recently as well. They kept trying to do a film, and it kept being put off by people, and then other people pulling out. So the writer and the designer was like getting annoyed and wanted to do it, but then ended up doing other stuff until now,
Right.
and it's just started coming out. I think they're on the second episode of the last series. But yeah, it's a beautifully written and designed cartoon. Like I just don't know how I missed it in
I
2001.
might go and have a little look at that. That's something I could watch on my
Yeah,
phone,
yeah.
surely.
Yeah.
Question
yeah,
for you though,
definitely.
Ross.
Yes.
It's that if it's the same animators as the section of Star Wars, the Clone Wars, did you say? Animated?
Similar, pretty much exactly the same style.
Then is that the portion of the Clone Wars where they did a Seven Samurai story?
No, I watched that the other week, weirdly enough, because I just finished Star Wars Rebels, and I went back and watched the Seven Samurai Clone Wars episode.
You need to send me a
And
link
it's all
to
right.
that, because I wouldn't mind watching
This the Star Wars Clone Wars, the 2003 series, the complete all as one thing is on YouTube in HD, and it's 2 hours and 9 minutes. So we'll put it in the show notes.
that. Cool.
And I'm sure it is the same people, because I don't even know if there's any dialogue. I can't remember. It might be really dialogue light, but I'm fairly sure it is the same
the
show.
whole thing with Samurai Jack, there are episodes where there's a lot of talking, but the majority of the time there's a lot of those moments you get in old, like in the Lone Wolf and Cub movies and TV shows, where there's just like two people looking at each other and there's just light music,
Yeah.
and then it goes silent, and then someone just moves really fast and someone else moves really fast, and there's like the sound of a sword hitting something, and then they're stood and one of them collapses. You know, there's a lot of really nice traditional styles in it, and yeah, I like it. And the soundtrack is beautiful. The intro music is like it sounds like it's Snoop Dogg. I don't know who it is. Like, I've looked at the names, I don't know who they are. I need to research that more. But the soundtrack, the theme tune is brilliant.
I seem to remember it's
like
being
a very
somebody
rap
like,
heavy style.
Wu-Tang Clan or something
Yeah,
like that.
I don't know. I don't know if it's RZA or like RZA and that lot, or whether it's the other direction towards Snoop and that lot. But it sounds very familiar, the voice.
Worth
But
a
it's
look.
great. Yeah, it's
Cool,
definitely
cool.
worth a look.
So we'll add some links to stuff below, I suppose,
Yeah.
including the Seven Samurai episode, if we can find that as well.
And, Turtles comics as well. I just caught up to date with the latest Turtles comics,
Ooh.
and yeah, Donatello nearly died,
Ooh.
and they had to put his consciousness inside Metalhead, the turtle robot,
Oh, yeah.
while they tried to save his body. It's pretty intense. I've
Ooh.
never got that emotional over a comic before.
Okay.
Probably go outside more.
I'm going to catch up with the Walking Dead comics this week, actually.
Yeah, I'm way behind on those, and I need to just pay for them and
I am
download
nowhere
them.
near as far behind as you are. I know that. Are you aware of Invincible?
Invincible.
Invincible is another one of Dave Kirkman's.
Robert Kirkman, yeah.
Dave Kirkman's.
Yeah, I do know that, actually. Yeah,
You do?
yeah. I thought you were talking about a TV show, but I know the comics, yeah.
I think it might be.
Are they
Has it
doing a
been-
show?
No, they're doing a movie.
Oh, okay. Wicked.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
So I think we mentioned last week about Invincible being made into a movie, and a bit of extra news that's come out this week is it's going to be produced by bloody Seth Rogen and even Goldberg.
Well, that could be a bad or a good thing.
Yeah.
I like the Green Hornet, so
It's
I've
a
not seen it.
comical comic series. So if they go Green Hornet direction, it might work for this better than it did Green Hornet.
Well, Pete Kirkman's quite happy about it.
Simon Kirkman, the famous author of The Walking Dead.
Anyway, So I'll tell you what we haven't bloody talked about is we've just watched a trailer for Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, this film looks really good, doesn't it?
He's my friend from work.
That's a
That
very
was my
weird
favourite
line,
bit.
isn't it?
No, it's brilliant.
It's sticking with the theme from the little bloody short movies that they produced in between, isn't it?
Right.
Why not?
I'm watching the trailer on my laptop and I'm not showing it to you guys, and I'm going to pause it and then ask you nerdy comic book questions.
Go on then.
What's the lady's name who catches and crushes the hammer?
She's Hela.
Hell of a good hammer crusher.
Hell of a woman.
I don't know. Is it Hela that catches
Hela.
it,
Yeah.
or is it Hela that's then in the image after that? With
What
the
is
big...
the spiky-haired reindeer woman?
That's
Hela.
That's the same woman.
Oh, it is then. Okay.
Oh
cool.
no, is it the same woman?
I don't
Doesn't
think
look
I'm
like.
pretty sure it is.
Yeah, I think she's the only other person that could probably pick it up because she's like the god of.
Why is
death.
everything getting burnt with fire?
Because it's Ragnarok.
Why does this next scene look like something from Star Wars?
It's because they're crossing over the planet Hulk bloody storyline, isn't it? So they've gone off to the planet Sakaar, and so aliens, gladiators.
Why is matey from The Fly in it? I've forgotten his name.
Because I'm assuming he's the king of the red people from planet Sakaar.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Who are the red people?
They're the ones that control everyone on the planet Sakaar and have slaves and gladiatorial battles.
This November.
You need to. I'll lend
and I've
you
got
Planet
really excited
Hulk.
about.
I'll lend you Planet Hulk.
Or you can watch the animated version. That's very good.
It's nowhere near as good. It's nowhere near as good as the comic. Nowhere near. They take out the best characters.
I really like this font they've used. It's really 1980s.
It's very
like He-Man-y and stuff.
It's almost a little bit Guardians of the Galaxy as well. It's got that kind of fun edge to it, but
and they use Led
He-Man.
Zeppelin for the theme tune.
Yeah, which is good.
Luther is in it.
Yeah,
with his helmet off.
Yeah,
his curly hair.
Oh, that's quite interesting. And why? I suppose if people are going to be banished from Asgard, then it makes sense there'd be more than just Thor.
Yeah. Tom Hiddleston is back as Loki, and he's got blades in his hands.
Yep. Yeah, and he looks quite mean, which is interesting.
Is he going to be a goodie or a baddie, or
I think
he'll
be
a don't
both.
know?
He's Loki.
Either, is he?
He's the god of mischief.
Yes.
And Thor's cut his hair, and
he hasn't cut his hair.
Somebody's
cut his hair off. Yeah.
And it's quite clear from how brown his hair is when it's short that he bleaches his hair badly.
Or it might be to do with the fact that he's sat on the chair and they shave his hair, and actually he's about to go into. He's been training gladiatorial battles, so he's got dirty hair.
Yeah.
We'll
it does look like he's about to go, I am Maximus Decimus Meridius.
Short hair's definitely easier to keep clean.
Yeah.
His helmet is not as cool as the one from Gladiator.
Oh, no.
Okay. No. And then the Hulk comes out.
Yeah!
I know you, but you look like a Roman centurion.
The first thing he does is go, yes!
And the crowd are like, what?
Yeah,
why
they're
is
all
he not,
really
why is he
confused
not
by
scared?
this. Yeah,
I quite like that. That's good. It's quite a nice little
turns
joke to put
around
in the
to
trailer.
the Emperor and goes, I work with this guy.
Thor Ragnarok in the same font as Masters of the Universe. Yeah. Brilliant.
It is. That's true.
I think to be honest, it looks totally different from the other two Thor films, and they were both very different from each other.
Looks nice and light and fun, doesn't it?
Yeah,
yeah.
But I think it will probably have some dark, sort of over-the-top mythicalness in it anyway. Still,
sure.
It'll just have a little bit more fun in it.
You know what? No matter what anyone says about Thor 2, that it did make a shitload of money for Marvel, and if they pull this one off,
film.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's that's all right. It's got its faults.
Yeah, but then all the Marvel films
have their faults, I suppose. And sometimes you just got to fucking let it go. But if they, I said this before, I think if they do this one right, it's going to make a really good trilogy. And we're going to have several really good trilogies from Marvel properties. It's nice.
The only Marvel film that I haven't been to the cinema twice to see was Iron Man 3.
Right.
All of the others, I went to the cinema twice, if not more.
Wow. Okay.
Because I really enjoyed watching them in that way.
Definite Marvel fanboys over here.
Well, just
fucking nerds.
They're just put together well. You know, I know they're paint by numbers to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Because they have to be, because they've got to be for an all-range audience, because they're aimed at kids, but they've got to be good enough for adults to be able to enjoy them.
Yeah.
But they're still well done, you know. Unlike other superhero films where they've tried to make them for an all-family audience and then just make them too dark and not make sense.
I quite like some of the like non-Marvel and DC comic films that we've had
Yeah.
in recent years. Have you seen Super?
Yeah, love it.
Have you seen Super, Ross?
Nope.
You should definitely go and watch Super.
The guy from that is in a TV show called Bloodstrom or Backstrom,
Right.
where he's this alcoholic, miserable cunt of a detective who's a big know-it-all but is actually very good at his job.
Right.
And it's the guy from Super, and it's brilliant.
Okay.
Really like it. Totally different style of... He's just rude and inappropriate to everyone.
Cool.
Like, throughout the whole thing. Like,
Sounds good.
yeah, it's worth a watch.
Gets Adam's seal of approval.
Kick-Ass 2 and Kingsman, they're all comics, aren't they?
That's true.
Yeah.
They're all good.
Kick-Ass is Marvel. Kingsman is written by the same guy
Who wrote Kick-Ass?
who wrote Kick-Ass.
Okay.
Mark Millar, who did the Kick-Ass 2 comics, were published in Clint magazine.
Which is his magazine.
Kingsman, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, with Kingsman and Nemesis, which I really hope gets made, 'cause that's epically dark.
Which one's Nemesis?
Guy in a white outfit who does horrendous things to a family for vengeance and because he is a nemesis. I can't say any more without giving it any of the story away.
Right.
It was again in Clint magazine, very, very good. He's released all of them as individual trade paperbacks, but yeah, Clint magazine was, they've stopped it now, but they did 2 volumes. I think there was about 15 issues in each, which had Jonathan Ross's first comic in, had Jimmy Carr's first comic.
Jonathan Ross.
Yeah, Jonathan
As in
Ross.
TV,
Yeah.
Jonathan Ross.
Jimmy Carr's first comic, and also what's the Scottish comedian got chucked off the BBC?
Oh, yeah. Another one.
Yeah, his first comic as well, which is all about a guy who goes to heaven and beats Jesus up
Okay.
and punishes him. And yeah, it's
Sounds
crazy.
like they're all very adult.
Oh yeah, very adult
Okay.
comic. Yeah, Clint magazine. The way it's written, capital C, capital L, little I, capital N, capital T.
Okay.
The way the picture is on the front, when you're looking at the cover from a distance in a shop, it looks like it says "Cant."
Right.
It's quite a funny thing to have on the front of your magazine.
Like Sugar Ape.
Yes. Sugar Ape.
I love that. Really small
That's a
sugar.
deep cut for one of my favourite TV shows of all time ever. Fucking
Nathan
love
Barley is
Nathan
good.
Barley.
It's very good.
Yeah.
So good. Really annoying ringtone.
Yeah, okay, last thing to talk about this week. The Batman. I know we spoke about it earlier, but just a quick one and a couple of interesting things that I thought would be nice to talk about to end the show. So Joe
Maglianello.
that's going to be playing Deathstroke. Apparently he was actually up for Superman originally and kind of got like ousted when What's-His-Face came along.
Weird.
Which you probably think is a good thing, don't you, Adam? Because you don't really like Superman.
No, I think Superman's a dickhead.
That's strong.
No, it's not.
But,
I
okay.
could have said a lot worse.
What is your problem with Superman? Is it because
He
he's
lives
not
in a
Ghostbusters?
universe where his girlfriend can't tell the difference between him naked and then Clark Kent, who she's married to, naked. She's having an affair she's with Clark Kent, she's having an affair with Superman, and at first she can't tell the difference between the two of them. She's an investigative reporter, and she can't work out that her boyfriend is actually the man that she meets on the roof for a chat just because he's taken his glasses off and put on some blue and red clothes.
She'll never win a Pulitzer.
And then
for
he's got
that.
too many powers.
All of this aside,
Like, shite.
all of
anyway,
this aside, he's not the most charismatic of characters.
No.
Okay, so you could argue that Deathstroke is a bit more interesting.
yeah.
Cool. Do you know much?
He's like a serious Deadpool.
Okay. This is part of the reason why I bring it up. So he's going through a lot of like katana training and some serious like full-on martial arts training for the role, which is great because you got to do him right. Do you know much about the character Ross?
No idea.
Okay, so Deathstroke was originally he's kind of like an anti-hero for
Yeah.
Batman. So sometimes he's the villain, sometimes he's like part of the good guys, and he's like a real super sick martial artist and
Just multiple skilled mercenary.
mercenary soldier.
He looks like the guys from G.I. Joe.
I tell you who he looks more like: Deadpool.
Yep.
Do you want to know why?
Because they're the same character.
They basically are. So the guy that was writing for DC, I think he got kicked out or something for some reason, and went off to work for Marvel and said, right, fuck you, I'm just going to take the piss out of the character that I've just created for you that everyone loves. And he created Deadpool.
Yeah.
So
So he made Deadpool as a parody of Deathstroke.
yeah, Absolutely. And what I wanted to talk about was like characters and things that have been stolen, like from, or properties that have been sued for, characters that have disappeared. Because I've got a specific one that I absolutely love that I've been reading about this week that I want to bring it up. But do you know of any others?
There was the character that has just come back to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Which one?
Comics called Angel or Angela.
Oh, right. Is that the Neil Gaiman created one from Spawn?
From Image, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's come to Guardians of the Galaxy now.
Right.
Through some sort of dimensional change in the universe. She suddenly is there and doesn't know who she is or how she can't communicate with heaven, and ends up meeting the Guardians of the Galaxy and fighting them at first, and then becomes part of the team.
Okay.
That's
interesting.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the deal was with that situation. I think it's because Marvel took ownership of certain Image characters back, and Image took certain characters back from Marvel in some deal.
So written by Neil Gaiman for the Spawn comic, and then she appeared in Marvel when they did the Ultimate series, right? It was after they did the Age of Ultron. That was the first time she appeared.
I think so, yeah.
So Age of Ultron, do you know the story in the comics, Ross?
Mate, I tuned out about 10 minutes ago.
So Age of Ultron in the comics, what happens?
Just looking at pictures of Spawn on the internet, because I think the clown's horrible.
In Age of Ultron, you join the team, like the X-Men and Spider-Man and everything, in a post-apocalyptic future where Ultron has destroyed everything.
Yeah.
And then Wolverine goes back in time to kill Hank Pym and stop him from creating Ultron in the first place. So Wolverine, after he's killed Hank Pym, goes back to his time, and everything's fucked up.
Yeah.
So Nick Fury is Captain Fury. Captain America is Iron Man, so he's the Iron Patriot.
Yeah.
And Tony Stark is like this overseeing, political, governing, technical figure. Yeah. And everything's screwed, and they get attacked by possibly the Skrull, and then Angela turns up with a bunch of heavenly army type people. But I know at that moment in time there was a massive fight.
Shifting in the companies, wasn't there?
And a dispute of some sort going on between Neil Gaiman and Marvel. Yeah, Neil Gaiman and Image Comics.
But then there was you also had the thing with Bill Finger, with the creation of lots of Batman stuff, and it's only recently, and I think the last sort of 5-10 years, that Bill Finger's really been given any credit, and the same as the original Superman and Batman creators. It's all kind of been given to two people,
right?
And then it's only now that a lot of these people and their families are getting any money or credit for the work they did,
right?
Which is crazy,
it's
really.
Criminal, really criminal.
There's been a lot about it over the last few years, and you do see their names now on all the TV shows, like characters created by blah 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 blah, and Jack Kirby,
right,
or whoever the named person everyone knows at the end rather than at the beginning, and they actually put all the other names now, which is interesting to show that they're actually giving the credit where it's due. For a lot of these people, they're already dead, so that's a bit harsh, but at least the families can sort of say, look, Bill Finger and the other guys are getting the credit they deserve.
What about Captain Marvel? That's an interesting one as well, isn't it?
What, DC's Captain Marvel or Marvel's Captain Marvel?
So originally it was DC's Captain Marvel, wasn't it? Yeah. And they wrote that character specifically to piss off Marvel, I think.
I don't know the history of that one because it's a DC character, and I'm
pretty sure that's the way it went.
Okay.
And then Marvel sued them because they were using the name Marvel.
Right.
And then took control of the character.
Created Captain Marvel.
And they've got their own Marvel Captain Marvel at that point.
Yeah.
DC changed the name of their character to Shazam.
Yeah.
And then now, years later, Captain Marvel's a woman.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, she's become a young teenage Muslim recently.
No, that's Ms. Marvel.
So is that not the same character, just reintroduced for a new generation?
You've got Captain Marvel, who is a woman who was Ms. Marvel, but that's because she's taken over the moniker of Captain Marvel from the previous Captain Marvel, who's not around anymore.
Right, okay.
So Ms. Marvel, the Muslim character, those comics are great.
I've heard
really, really enjoy it. And it gives you a different idea of the sort of life that a teenage Muslim girl has in America.
Right.
Like, they do go into the family relationships and the rules of how their family live and stuff.
Right.
And it's really good. It's a really well-written comic. The artwork's great. Storylines are good.
Okay.
But yeah, it's different, slightly different character to Captain Marvel. But then there was Captain Marvel, and there was other characters called Marvel and stuff like that.
So it's all quite convoluted.
Yeah, lots of characters connected to the Guardians of the Galaxy that are Marvel and stuff who have come and gone.
I didn't realise it was quite that complicated.
Yeah, there's
Maybe
quite
I shouldn't
a few.
have brought it up.
No. There's quite a few. I will show you some comics at some point. Lend you some that will make more sense.
Cool. Do you want to know what my favourite one is? And probably the whole reason why I bloody bought this up in the first place.
Go on.
Howard the Duck. So the original writer, Steve Gerber, he obviously created the character, stopped working for Marvel at some point, and went off to I think it's Savage Dragon. Is that or Savage Comics?
Savage Dragon is a character,
right? Or is it Savage Comics?
There is Savage Comics as well.
I think it's Savage Comics. So Steve Gerber's working for them, and at some point he decides that he wants Howard the Duck, and ends up in the courtroom trying to get the character back. Nobody knows what happened, but we do know that Marvel retained the rights to the character, and Steve Gerber was able to go and write stories of Howard the Duck for Marvel. Right. So in effect, he didn't really get the rights back.
No.
Years later, while he's working for Savage Comics, he's created another character called Destroyer Duck.
Yeah.
Who's obviously, in some way, shape or form, a bit of a duck theme based on Howard the Duck. So he went off to Marvel and he said, right, I'm going to do a Howard the Duck story for you. And in the Howard the Duck story, there's a situation where Howard the Duck gets cloned.
Right.
And Destroyer Duck, his character, turns up in the Marvel Comics strip, but only as a silhouette. And there's like a big fight between them.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they ran the same story in Savage Comics, using all the Marvel characters as silhouettes. So you saw both sides of the fight and everything that was going on. Destroyer Duck took one of the Howard the Duck clones and proclaimed, like, this is the real Howard the Duck. I've definitely got the real one. Goes back through his portal, back to their reality, closes it behind him, and Howard the Duck that's left in the Marvel universe forevermore will be the clone and not the real Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
And then he died, the writer. So, and who's going to go and like...
Yeah, you can't change that back.
That's the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I think my favourite one for like crazy suing situations between people is George Lucas trying to sue the guy who designed the Stormtrooper outfits a few years back. The guy, I think he lives somewhere like Cornwall, Dorset direction. He has been making Stormtrooper...
Hang on a minute. It wasn't George Lucas.
No, it was.
It was Lucasfilm.
No. It was George Lucas specifically.
He's like, get me the guy who's been selling my Stormtroopers.
No, it was George Lucas specifically wanted to sue him because he'd been making outfits of Stormtroopers for fans for money for years. And him and Lucasfilm tried to have him extradited to America to go to court over it.
Is it a British guy?
Yeah. And
I know a guy that does this. He lives really locally.
Yeah, no, it's not this guy. And he was trying to do him for like making money out of all of the stuff, blah, blah, blah. And the European courts went, well, based on artistic license in this country, actually, he doesn't have to go to your country. You have to come to our court system and fight for this in our court system.
He wasn't part of the art team. He designed and built it in his own time while not at the studio, and he presented it and they went, oh yeah, we'll run with these. Can you make more of them?
Yeah.
So that's how it wasn't.
Yeah, he didn't technically. They didn't technically have the rights to what he designed on any paper.
It was as much his intellectual property as it was theirs.
Cool.
Yeah, and there's been a few cases that with American film companies that have come over to Britain trying to take artists who design stuff for them without signing anything to court for money, and then ended up being told, no, artistic license works different here, so you've got to go away.
Right.
I really want a Stormtrooper outfit.
There's a guy locally that makes them.
Yeah, I know.
We
should have him on the podcast.
We should.
Yeah.
Ross Wormsley, if you're listening, we want you on our podcast.
Definitely not listening.
That would be amazing. He might be one of the
100.
100. 100.
7.
100.
7.
107.
7.
Anyway, thank you for listening, all 100 of you.
7.
And we will we'll come back to this again next week.
Okay, should we do a little wrap up? I wrote it down this week so I could remember it all.
Ooh.
Right, go to SNEWWithTheCrew.libsyn. Libsyn is spelled LIBSYN.com. That's our main page. And on there, that's got all of our episodes, and you can comment on them if you want. But on there is the links to our Facebook page, links to our Twitter. Follow and subscribe on both of those. Our email address is there if you want to ask us a question.
Ask us some questions, please.
Please ask us a question. Ask Adam what his favourite film is that's not Ghostbusters, and he'll say it's Ghostbusters 2.
No, I won't.
And there's a link to iTunes for everybody who's got an iPhone, which is pretty much everyone. And then there's a really nerdy RSS feed for all you Android geeks to put in your fucking podcast app of choice. And there's a link to Stitcher. And just for Chris's sanity, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Which quite a lot of people use, actually.
It's funny because it's an audio podcast and they use YouTube for it.
Hello to John, who seems to be one of our biggest fans at the moment, who keeps liking and subscribing to everything we do. And
John Kirkman, the writer of The Walking Dead.
Shut up, John definitely deserves a mention.
Yeah, John's a good follower of quite a lot of local stuff that goes on.
Good on you, mate.
Yeah.
And, thanks very much for listening, folks. I think let's get the fuck out of here. Say goodnight, Adam.
Good night.
Say goodnight, Ross.
Good night.
And good night from me. Bye.
Bye.
Todd McFarlane's not a wizard.
But his shoe is.
Which one?
I'm Batdad. I'm
watch
going
Batdad
to
right
find
now.
Dad Joke and take him down.